I'm Sanjoy. So before I start the session, I have a quick question for you. How many of us present here have some experience with blended learning? Can I just have a quick show of hands, please? Just so that I know where I stand. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this, just to quickly dive you through the roadmap of our session, I'm going to tell you briefly about what's blended learning, for those of us who are not familiar with it. I'm going to tell you the project which we undertook, the blended learning project, and I'll show you the results, and of course, what we carry home when we go from here. Okay. So, I mean, just imagine, look at pictures of the blenders. You know, all of us are blenders in our kitchen, right? So we take different modalities of learning, we put them in a blender, we stir it, and we mix it together, and we put it in the brains of the student, that becomes blended learning. But just to put it simply, blended. I mean, if you look at those Venn diagrams, basically, to put it in a nutshell, it incorporates two components or two modalities of learning. One, we have the face-to-face traditional classroom teaching, which all of us are familiar with. It's just been there for the last 500 years. And now what we do is we take online learning and we combine the two, and it becomes blended learning. So if you look at the Venn diagrams there, you see on one circle you have online or and the other one is the opposite. And where the two diagrams overlap, that portion is the blended portion. So that's the simplest way to look at what is blended learning. Let's go a little deeper. So that's why I call it the guts of the blended learning. Where you, what are the siblings or sibling models? These are my terminologies. Most of the universities, they believe in the three sibling model. On one end of the spectrum, you have the traditional pure face-to-face. At the other end of the spectrum, you have the pure online. And somewhere in between, you have the blended. This is why I call it the three sibling model. So in this model, and this is the one which we have followed, this is sometimes also referred to synonymously as hybrid learning. However, there are some universities which differentiate between blended learning and hybrid learning. So I call it the four sibling model. That is most notably the Illinois Online Network, University of Illinois. What they have done is they have separated blended learning from hybrid learning. So in their model, blended learning is closer to face-to-face. So a larger component is face-to-face, a small component is online. And in hybrid, it's the reverse. A larger component is online, a smaller component is face-to-face. But however, we follow the traditional three sibling model. Okay. Let's take a quick look at the classification of blended learning. Rotation model is the one which we're going to focus on, where the students rotate different modalities of learning at the discretion of the teacher. And this has got various submodels, which I'll share to you a little later. There are other components also, like for example, flex learning, where the students meet the professor at the flexibility and the availability on a day-to-day basis, on a need-to basis with the professor. That's what's called the flex model. Then you have a la carte, that's like we go to a restaurant and we order food according to what's there in the menu. Here the student teacher picks up one course, which he wants to do, he or she wants to do online, and the rest of the courses he or she wants to pursue as face-to-face. That's called a la carte model. And then we have the Enriched Virtual model, where the professor starts with the face-to-face, and then the student continues online and enhances his experience. So that's the one. This is the traditional subdivision classification. However, a little more sophisticated version of the same classification is the next one. If you take a closer look at this, you see that the rotation model is the one which is the true hybrid component, while the flex, the a la carte, and the enriched virtual are closer to the online component. So we will focus on the rotation model, especially the subdivision or the flipped classroom, because that's what our project is all about, and I'm going to explain to you how it was a flipped classroom and what is a flipped classroom, and that's going to be the first. So let's come to the next part of our presentation. What was this project we are doing? Well, I'm a neuroscience professor, so therefore what the first speaker was bread and butter for neurotransmitters and neuroplasticity, and neuroscience is a very, very difficult subject to teach. You know, you can see I've lost most of my hair, right? That is genetic, by the way. This is just a joke anyway. So, and in neuroscience, there are certain topics which are even more difficult. And therefore, I chose a really difficult topic, that is the hearing pathway. We call it the auditory pathway. How something goes through this ear and goes to the center of the brain and goes to many other parts of it. So I decided that I'm going to do a blended learning project on my students using this. And I had 3 objectives. First, to see, this is a pilot project, a small project, to see whether it does really improve student outcomes, learning outcomes. Secondly, I wanted to get a feedback from the students, how they felt about this whole blended learning project. And you'll see the interesting results will be there. And of course, we use this audience response system clickers. How many of us are familiar with this ARS, audience response system clickers? Okay, so I'll tell you about that also, and I'll show you the results also. You'll see the results, actual results in real time. So this was my 3 objectives of my project. So this is me taking the class, and those are my classrooms. Those are my actual, here there have been some other projects. Class, and there are my students. Only 43 students in a basic medical science course. I'm a neuroscience professor, as I told you. And I was working in the Caribbean, so that's a map of the Caribbean. I was pointing towards one small island. You have to drill down really on Google Map. The islands are so small that you have to go right almost above the ground to see the size of the island. It's I'm just kidding. It's very small. And you can see one end of the sea, and you can see the sea on the other side. Very small islands. So anyway, so this was where we did the project. So let me tell you briefly about what was it. It was a pilot project, as I told you, and it had 2 components: one online component and one face-to-face component. The online component was for 30. I estimated that the students will not have to spend more than 30 minutes at home online, because I don't want to burden them too much, otherwise they start screaming blue murder. And the next day, the face-to-face component will be 50, 100 minutes total. So this was the, and as I explained to you, it was a rotation model of blended learning, the fifth classroom. How it is, I'm going to show you just a little later. Okay, so how did we do the online component? First, I explained to the students briefly, look guys, I'm going to do a nice thing for you guys. You know what? Blended learning. Okay, don't hold your horses, don't get so upset. I didn't go into much details as I did here. I told them, it's nothing. You're going to be just treated to some nice videos at home. So I explained the whole thing to them, and then I gave them the online component. So what was the online component? I gave them a picture, and I'll show you the picture. It's really crazy. And then I give them a link to a video, an online video, just 4.1 minutes, that's all. And to help them along, I gave them 2 objectives, so that they will focus on those 2 objectives when they look at the video, otherwise they treat it as a movie. And I also gave them 2 questions pertaining to those objectives, so that they will have something to focus on. And I told them, you look at that movie as many times as you want, don't spend too much time, don't Google around, don't Facebook around, and don't Twitter around, just look at that video only, and just look at those objectives, and you will need them tomorrow when I come for the class. Okay, so this is the picture already part. This just, by the way, this is not a class on neuroscience, but you can see how difficult, how complicated it is. It's really crazy. And then I give them this link. So they have to just click on that link and they just have to watch the movie. It's very small. Next, these are the 2. I told them that you have to focus on 2 things. You have to know what are all the components of the auditory pathway. There are 8 components, and you have to know them in the right sequence. Watch for these 8 components in the right sequence, and you must also know exactly the impulses go from where to where, and how they travel, and all the rest of it. That's called the lateral projection. It's a little technical, but these are the things you have to focus on. And these were the same 2 questions which I asked them. What are the components? And what is the lateral projection? Just keep these 2 questions in mind, that's all, nothing more. Then next, the face-to-face component. Before even I started the lecture, embedded within my PowerPoint slides, I put 3 questions, embedded them using the software which I will show you just now. And these were the 3 pre-lecture questions. And after the whole session was over, when I finished my lecture of 100 minutes, I embedded 5 more questions. What was their feedback? And I'm going to show you the questions, and I'm going to show you the responses also. And how we did with this embedding, we did it by means of this audience response system clicker. So those of you who are familiar with it, and those who are not familiar, let me tell you quickly what it was. It's actually a software called Turning Point software from Turning Technologies. So we install this software in the computer, and we open our slides within the software. And each student is given one instrument in their hand, a small instrument, it's the size of a credit card. It's called the ARS clicker, Audience Response System Clicker. And as you can see, it's got rotations, A, B, C, D, E. And it is controlled by radio frequency waves. There's a small USB stick here. It controls. So we put the question embedded within our slides. The students see a question. We give them 1 minute. They think, they talk, their parents share. At the end of 1 minute, I say, okay, finish. And I press the next button and give the response. So this is how the audience response system clicker works. The clicker as well as the software, they're all part of the same software. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the 3 questions, and I'm going to show you the students' responses. It's a nice place where you can also do a little bit of guessing. Okay, so this was the question. Again, don't bother about the question. It's a technical question. It's a question about the auditory pathway. Don't worry about what is inferior colliculus, what is the lateral lemniscus, and what is the cochlear nucleus. It's not part of our section. So I put this question. This was mind you, this was before even I started my lecture. This was bent entirely on what they had studied in the online component the previous day. And I put these 4 options and I gave them 1 minute. Okay, you have 1 minute, you press your clickers and you can talk, you can discuss, do whatever you want, only for 1 minute. And guess what we got the answer? This is the actual response I'm going to show you now. So when I press the switch, the next button, the correct answer came up and the students' aggregated responses came up. And as you can see, just even before I had started my lecture, 2/3 of the class got the question right. So it was a small pleasure for me. At least they have learned something, so now I know where to start from. Where to go from. Okay, and the students are very happy. The next question, same thing. Again, I put that question, 1 minute, give your response. Okay, so this was the response. A little less than 2/3 of the class got it right. The third question was a really difficult one. It was a brand new question. I just wanted to see whether they're pulling my leg or whether they're big more. So I gave them a really difficult. This was all 3 previous. So what do you think was the response for this one? Good, bad, ugly? Ugly.
Good.
You're not guessing me. You're absolutely right. 92% of the class got it right. This is a really difficult one. As you can see the options, it's so crazy options, right? I mean, I won't give this question in the exams, but I give it there. And the students were so happy, they all started clapping. So cool. I mean, the vast majority got it right. And mind you, I have not even started my lecture. This was purely based on what they did in the online component. So these are the 3 pre-lecture questions. Then, of course, I had my session, 50 minutes, then break in 50 minutes, answering questions, clearing doubts and everything. And then I posed the next 5 questions. These were to get a feedback about the whole project. The first question was, how did you find the online video? So it was in the form of a Likert scale, from very helpful to not at all helpful. I considered ABC as somewhat on the positive side and DE somewhat on the negative side. So let's see what was the response of the students. The aggregated response was sort of mixed. So I would say that ABC together constituted about 75%. While the rest of the every class has its backbenchers, not very important. Okay, so this was the first question. Next question. Find the pre-work question, the 2 questions, the questions that I gave them at home. So what was their response? Again, about 44/5 of them said, okay, helpful, moderately helpful, reasonably helpful. Again, 1/5 of them, usual. We can expect that. The next question, how did they find the pre-lecture questions, the 3 questions which I showed you just now? What was their feedback about that? And again, 9/10 of them said, we really found it useful, helpful, maybe because they were still thinking of the fact that they got it right, whatever the reason. So, the 4th question was, overall, what was their experience about this blended learning project, namely the face-to-face component following the online component and all the rest of it. And again, about 3/4 of them generally said, okay, it was reasonably good. Now the last one. This will give us an insight into the minds of the students. Would they like to have some more exercises like this? What do you think?
Yes.
Well, that's what we would like to think, so but actually it doesn't work out that way. That's what it gives us an insight into the mind of the students. They're tricky people, You have to understand, you have to think outweighs them. So only a little more than half of them says yes, and another half of them says maybe not, maybe not. So this was the response. Would they like to have more places? But this is just a small pilot project with only 43 students. So this was the last response I got. So therefore, just to summarize, I mean, most of the students understood the material well even before I started the lecture, and the majority of them found it helpful in a manner of speaking with this system. And as you could see, that the ARS response system, the clicker system, I've been using it for a long time, and this one is the time when I really put it to use, put it to test. And I found that it gives us wonderful results, wonderful from both points of view. We, as a teacher, we immediately come to know how much the students have learned, and after we have taken, suppose, a concept and explained the concept, and we find that the majority of the students have understood it well, or not understood it well, then we know we can deliver our course, we can tailor our course strategy accordingly. So that ARS system is a very useful tool in this regard. And how was it? It was a rotation model, as I told you. Rotation model means the students rotate on a fixed schedule determined by the teacher, at the discretion of the teacher. So in this case, the schedule was, you do the online component, which I will tell you. You don't spend too much time on this, and the next day you'll have a face-to-face component. So it was a rotation. We can have many more modalities of learning, but one of those modalities have to be online to conform to the definition of blended learning. And why was it a flipped classroom? Now let's take a traditional classroom, which all of us are familiar with. What do we do with a traditional classroom, which has been there for the last so many centuries? We first teach the students the basics of the concepts, and we tell them, you enhance it at home, you learn more further ahead. Here we did opposite. They learned the basics at home, and we enhanced it in the classroom. So therefore, we flipped the classroom. That's why it is called the rotation model method, flipped model. So rotation, flipped classroom. So this was the rotation, flipped classroom model which we did. As I told you, this is just a pilot project, therefore we need to do more studies. We need to have a larger student population. I should give them more difficult topics. Auditory pathway itself is not sufficient, it's very difficult, but I should give them something like, what basal ganglia or Parkinson's disease or whatever. And I should have a larger group of students, that I can have more robust results and more concrete conclusions. Only then we can generalize our findings to the rest of the population. But otherwise, the preliminary results, this was what we got, and it was quite encouraging to stimulate us to do further work. And finally, when we leave this home room for our coffee, what will we carry home with us? Those of us who are not familiar with the learning projects, we have seen that there are 4 models, though we do not remember all the names of the models, but we do know there are 4 models. We have seen how to conduct a blended learning project, and we've seen what is at least the preliminary educational value of a blended learning. What else did we learn? We got an insight into the minds of the students, how they can fool us. So we should always be ready to understand so that we can deliver, we can tailor our course delivery strategy accordingly. Because we have to understand, because after all, in order to be able to deliver our learning effectively, we should be one step ahead of their thinking process. Only then can we be effective teachers. So this is a useful exercise so that we can get an insight into the students. And we have also seen this how an audience response system, turning point technologies, how it works. And of course, not that this is part of the session, but all of you know that there is something called auditory pathway, isn't it? Something called hearing pathway. What happens when hearing goes from this ear, as the old saying was, it goes from this ear, comes out from this ear. No, it goes from this ear, and it goes to this half of the brain, 90% of it, but 10% goes to the same side. How does it happen? Please don't ask me. But it does happen. So that is the auditory pathway. That was just by the way. That is just a byproduct of this whole exercise. So these are some of the things that we will carry home when we go from here. Okay? So thank you very much for watching. This was, and if there are any questions, any comments, anything, I would be very, very happy to explain to you. Yes, please.